Ha! Hello one, hello all, it's the most first port ghost of them all, Caspa in the flesh, and it's time for a review of Venturing-GHOSTHOLDing. This is the debut of side project of Jane Remover, singer, songwriter, producer, essentially putting together this fictional indie band, which honestly reminds me of what Meridian Brothers were doing a couple years back with El Grupo Recimiento, really bolstering her creativity, really showing how much of an innovative artist she really is. And she's released several tracks under the Venturing alias on SoundCloud, releasing an EP a while back, but now putting together a full-length album on Dead Air Records, which also is shared with label mate Quadeca. And given how ghostly his last album was and how ghostly this album feels, I do think it does go hand in hand with the very atmospheric indie style that these two are going for. And with Jane Remover having such a innovative catalog, maybe not one of my favorites, but something I would definitely suggest checking out, such as Frailty, her sophomore LP, her third LP, which I have not heard yet, but give me time, because it's been a hell of a year and I can only get to so much, but I will get to that, trust me. But with this one here, I feel Jane is just trying something new, trying something different, because now she's delivering from this fictional indie rock band, something that's really hazy, dreamy, but yet dizzying at times. Yes, I said dizzying, because I feel this thing could be like not only a dream, but there's also some very nightmarish parts too. And the influences I find to be very interesting. The ones that are pretty much on site, dead ringer, but in a creative way. Because I am getting elements of Weezer, Wheatus, yeah, Wheatus. But I'm also getting post-punky bits as well, and blending together noise pop, shoegaze, slacker rock, emo pop, post-grunge. Yes, post-grunge. Do not shut this off. We're doing post-grunge. I know. Not one of my favorite genres, but I think she does it justice here. All constructed into 13 tracks, and this whole thing does really feel like a dream. Like it feels like listening to this musical dream, like a fever dream, into this dark alternative world of Jane Remover. And in this world, she embarks on this rock star type of lifestyle, but also expressing her inner turmoil as well. But in all honesty though, I do think this record takes a while to get started. And I do think the melodies are there, but there's something kind of amateurish and messy about the playing. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It's just these tracks do run pretty tedious. I don't think they're as hard-hitting as what we're to expect later on in the track list. So yeah, not really an issue in terms of the messiness. I like a little messiness. It's just, I wish that these tracks brought more in opposed to just being a little unkempt. And also, like, I do think these tracks are a little bit too mellow to be messy as well. And I don't really think the trade-off is a fair exchange, unfortunately. But once this record starts going, once we get into gear, it starts kicking ass! Like, Jane's imagination, her alternative world, her world building is just so tangible and so powerful. And honestly, really daring. And I really do think Jane really does show some great artistic shifts in her arsenal here, like on Spider, Recoil, that really brings some very devastating, unpredictable change-ups within their runtime, just culminating together in a very unpredictable way. So I feel like Jane is onto something here. Like, she really has a knack for meshing together genres, bringing them together, being very outlandish with her transitions, like how staticky, how noisy, how she has these touch-on effects. Like, her embellishments on Recoil sound very Deftones-like, but the outro is like so Swans. It's like Deftones just did the most trippiest song, which led them into an alternate universe, and then just ended up with swans and just going on this tripped out adventure. And I say that given how bassy and trippy the ending is. There's also Something Has to Change, which is very dark, very murky. Certainly has a lot of atmosphere with its dreary, watery chords, the swelling, distorted tones which pan in and out periodically. Like the echoes are just so haunting, it sounds like they're transcending through the speaker. And while there is no build here, while this track is pretty much just her and her effects, and there's no drums either, I do think the lyrics and how forlorn the production sounds, how dark the production sounds, really complement each other, and I think really add more to the less is more type theory here. Then transitions beautifully into the absolute slacker rock anthem, Dead Forever, which atmosphere carries from the last track that has these glitches surrounding these blaring guitar tones, that breaks into these searing blasts of guitar chords. And these guitar chords are over these massive walls of bass, and the chorus just hits. Like, as I alluded to before, this really does sound Wheatus and Weezer coded. But it's super fuzzy, it's very noisy, it's very emo, and eventually we're hit with these squealing, screaming, dizzying guitars. But also I'm hearing Jane screaming in the background, so I'm thinking, are these the guitars just squealing out of control, or is she screaming out of control? It's kind of hard to tell. And the guitar soloing, the distorted drums are just absolutely killer. Like, I swear, the guitars, the hook, it just lives rent-free in my head. Ba-da-ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. It's like I've been transported into this distorted VHS, old school, like 90s rock scene, like the emo-ish rock scene, and I'm just at this college party and I'm just being carried through this crowd surf. As I mentioned before, Jane really does know how to sequence a record. Like, each sonic element, each effect complements the following sound that it's guided by. I mean, it's like she knows what sound to put over the other sound. Like, her sequence game is top notch. Like, it complements each other very well and it connects beautifully. Like, she's just a genius when it comes to transitions. Case in point, We Don't Exist, which after a hard-hitting blast of distortion and guitar wailing, we get this very chill and serene moment to follow that up with. And similar to Something Has to Change, we get another drumless moment here, and equally ghostly, equally eerie, that I feel plays into the narrative, I feel plays into the aesthetic of the record, as she really delineates her inner thoughts here, as I mentioned before, and kind of breaking the third wall. It's like you are telling, it's like you're hearing We Don't Exist, and I'm mirroring this as in the fictional band here. I mean, we could go a little bit deeper, but that's basically what I'm getting from it. Like, there is a artistic self-awareness here. But as I go deeper, I mean, with her being trans, it could be like the hopelessness for trans people that's transmitting through here. Like, the bigotry for trans people is really affecting her mental health, and she's mirroring that hatred, that bigotry. But that's just a guess I have. That's just a guess. But with how dark this record is, how ethereal this record is, and with how elusive this is, it certainly is a contribution to her world building here, to the art of world building. Like, Sick and Relapse has this really demented, gargled vocal that sounds like the equivalent of someone being sick. It's like they're just trying to speak to you through this illness that they have. Like, the vocals are just so garbled up, you can't really tell, but I do feel it adds to the theme of the track. But again, I think they're supposed to mirror the sickness portion of the track. And the build of this is great. That leads into this crushing wall of distorted bass, especially with the touches on the drums and the guitars. Like, I love the messy and unkempt sounds of the guitar, of the instrumentation here. I really do think that justice is served in here, and we really do get that exchange that I wish we got in the beginning of this record. Because while it is messy, while it is unkempt, it certainly has a beauty to it. I think Famous Girl is another beautiful example here. It's very unhinged. Like, this is probably one of the most unhinged grooves on the record that goes over well. Because there's so much unhinged energy in the drums and the grooves, which leads into a very blissful ending. Unfortunately though, I don't think this record really sticks the landing, which is unfortunate due to how slow that this album started. But I think where this album falters is it really does have moments where it's too laxed, but yet it's too amateurish, or the tracks don't really go anywhere. We're just getting this very atmospheric detour that leads us into just, I guess, oblivion to nothing. Like, I just wish we had something as climactic and emotional as the highlights. Like, I feel the cuts that are more mellow and messy really pale in comparison to the hard-hitting tracks here. And while I do enjoy a lot of tracks here, and while I do think there are some very immersive tracks here, as a whole, even though the transitions are great, the last two tracks just kind of trail off for me. Like, I don't feel the last two tracks, the closers, have that epic finish, that finality aspect that this record really needed, in my opinion. And her singing has improved vastly, that's for sure. She's even screaming on here too. And the mixing, I don't really have too much of an issue with the mixing, I guess. I do think though that No Sleep needed a little bit of a do-over in terms of its groove. Like, it really does sound like it's tripping over itself. Like, it's kind of like not really connecting well. It's not as fluent as I'd like it to be. It doesn't really sound mixed properly. However, I don't really think there were any moments here where my ears were suffering. I really don't think there were any moments here where I could say there wasn't really any variation here. It's just, I wish there was really more of a solid conclusion here, more of a strong theme here. But yeah, aside with the grooves being out of whack on No Sleep, I really didn't hate this project. I actually liked it. I liked it. I just didn't love it. And I felt like there was definitely more potential here. And as much as a slow start, it really did need that strong finish that I didn't get. However, the middle of this thing, great. I loved it. Loved the middle. So yeah, an enjoyable project, and hopefully Jane could really come through with something more consistent this time around. Venturing could come through with something more solid this time around, more consistently immersive. But I really do think she's onto something, and onto something in general as an artist. I'm feeling a 3.5 out of 5 on this record. If you've given this a listen, what did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And that's it. Caspa, Gothic Ghost, Venturing, Ghost Holding, till we meet again.